Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Hope you've got some good plans. We certainly do, because forget the romantic stuff. Today is the day that we are going to pick up our final package from Leopard, or it should be the final package. That is a very good feeling because that means that we don't have to rely on them for anything anymore, and I'm glad to be reaching that point. What we're going to pick up is a few things that they needed to send us, but the most important thing for us that's in this shipment is the replacement door parts. So if you remember back to last year, when the joint Robertson and Kane and Leopard repair team were here, one of the guys accidentally threw out some of the door parts for the Lumar sliding door and window at the back of the boat. Turned out that those parts are no longer in production, so Leopard worked with Lumar to get new parts sent out. We received that box the day before launch, opened the box to realize that the parts were not there. So now fast forwarding to February 14, we got the text message yesterday to say that they had arrived at the mooring space here in St. Martin. So we're going to jump in the tender, I'm going to drive us over to Marigot, and we are going to pick those up. Fingers crossed, they are the right parts. So once we've picked that up, I'll run you through what's actually there and why we've got it. And I'm also going to talk about where I see things moving forward with us and Leopard from now on. You're also probably curious about the anchoring system. We are still in communication with Chromox and with Mantis Marine. We've got some stuff on the way from Mantis, which is exciting, and just waiting for a response from the factory at Chromox. Hopefully by next week though, we'll have some good news for you that we can actually share. The silver chloride tester it's left Miami, all the way from Australia. It's reached Miami, so if it's left Miami, I imagine it will be here by Monday. And then we've also had Victron providing some insight as well. So there is a lot going on at that front, but I want to be able to tell you all of it together. So hopefully that will be next week. This week's been kind of like a chill week around the boat because the other two are very sick. So not too much has happened, but again, today's a big day. Oh honey, is he eating ribs for breakfast? And you have no ribs for breakfast. All right, it's time to head in and get this stuff.
Heading into the moorings office, I decided to park the tender at the concrete public dock in Marigot, rather than try to go into the back of the marina to their low-lying floating dock, just to make it a bit easier for us to load the tender after we picked up the packages.
This is the public dinghy dock here at Marigot Bay that all the cruisers and yachties and everyone can use for free. We just chain up and you can go. But the moorings office is actually on the other side of this bay at the marina. So just gotta walk around. It takes like 2 minutes and it's a nice day, so. This that we're going past now is the ferry boat terminal here. And they even have a customs and immigration, but since we're on a private boat, we don't use that. We do the whole thing online, which is super easy. You might be a little confused as to like why we're going to the mooring space. It's because the parent company, Travelopia, that basically sold us our boat through Leopard Catamarans, also owns Sunsail and the Moorings, which is the charter businesses. So Since these parts were being sourced through their network, it made the most sense to just pick them up from the base. Hey Tynan, wrong way.
What?
That's the moorings.
Oh. Right.
And Tynan is out of here. The people at that mooring space, all the ones I've met, have actually been really friendly. Obviously, you know, staff at a random mooring space are nothing to do with our experience, and no doubt they have to spend a fair bit of time fixing up Robertson and Kane mistakes too, so I'm sure they'd never say it, but I bet they get it. So yeah, I'm glad that we were able to get this stuff sent here. It's made life a lot easier, especially today's delivery being so bulky. They did even offer us a trolley, but Tynan was like, nah, one-way trip, I'm a man. So he's just carrying it. Just carrying it over. We've noticed that's been whacked because it's come out, and there's a corner there out. So we'll just have to check it once we get back to the boat and unwrap it all. Oh my goodness, it might be it. Oh, that we needed. Well, I think that's the right part. Anyway, it looks like it's what we need. Alright. I think we might actually have everything here. That done, it's time to actually head back to Liger, check the door parts are right, and then I couldn't help myself, and we were right next to a French patisserie, so happy girl, we come back to you. Was I gone for half an hour, sweetie? How rude. How rude. Well, it seems like you got to play a bit of Lego and put the whole thing together, which is fun.
Possibly. It's close.
As well as the door parts in the box, there's the commercial receipt that shows that the value was £117.28. They look right, so let's hope when we go to fit them, they are right, and we can close the chapter on that particular saga. They're so rich. They're so good. As well as those door parts, we were sent a couple of other things. One was this horn, which is for the mast. Our mast horn died years ago, and they just sent the replacement out. Obviously, yes, would have been a lot easier if this had arrived when the mast was on the ground. So we're going to have to figure out how to attach it to this mast while Tynan's hanging 30 feet up in the air. So that did arrive at least. There was also my interface pieces. Now These were sent because when the first contractor was working on Liger, it caused a lot of collateral damage. And one of the things they damaged was our Yamaha interface up here in the helm. They dropped some kind of substance on it. Obviously we don't know for sure, but whatever it was, it damaged the plastic, and it damaged the sealant where the buttons are and stuff. So Leopard has sent out replacements for those, so we'll have to pull the old ones off at some point and put the new ones in. And then there's the giant package you saw Tynan lugging around. That actually has two things in it. First thing it has in it is the dimmer switch, and I will correct myself in editing if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is for the bathroom on the starboard side because the lights just flicker quite frequently, and have been for quite a while, so that should solve that problem. And then the other thing is an air conditioning unit. So the air conditioning unit on the starboard side was already replaced. I'm going to cut to some videos showing you why.
What do you reckon this job would cost to get someone to come change us out like this?
Right, it's away.
We had 90 odd volts roughly AC through our entire earth system. You can see the remnants of the corrosion falling away, and you can see the pitting that it leaves in the aluminium. See the holes? But essentially it's caused a leak in between these two. So salt water was splashing up, or spraying, squirting out when it was in use. And you can see here quite a large hole forming in between the two. You can just dig that powder out. And you contrast this hole to how closely machined it is normally everywhere else.
Due to the stray voltage issue that we had, which I've not gone into depth on that story yet because honestly it went over years and involved a lot of ass covering and gaslighting and just disgraceful behaviour, but it was eventually resolved with the help of Victor in Trinidad. And before we left the hard stand, the AC and DC was tested to an earth stake and no stray current was found. But while this problem was getting kicked along for years, damage happened to various systems that are connected to the water system. So hot water units, air conditioner, the seagull tap filter, all kinds of stuff. This air conditioner was sent to replace the air conditioner on the port side. So that is just another job that we're going to have to do. We already have to rip the air conditioning system apart because another warranty issue that was lodged was the air conditioning ducting was crushed and sections were replaced with inappropriate stuff all the way back in Cape Town. Trent went and found the right stuff, and now we're going to have to rip it apart and do more warranty, which we're going to do here because I'm sick of having this ducting kicking around the floor in the office. It takes up too much space. So yeah, that's what they've sent us, and that should be it. I'm opening this, and I don't want to sound pessimistic, but I don't think this is new. Was this a warranty replacement or meant to be a gesture?
Warranty.
I don't want to sound like a cow, but I don't think this is new. Or if it is new, they need to fire someone because it is covered in dents and scratches. And the foam's ripping off on the back here. Are you joking?
What?
Look at the coil. And there. I was just looking for corrosion.
I'm surprised the drain plug's not broken off.
It has been hit on something. All this is in transit because you can see all the paint. They've just put the metal unit straight onto this and shipped it like that, and that's just dug the hell out of all of that.
I mean, that can be fixed. That doesn't matter, but that might make it fucking worthless if that blocks
Yeah.
up.
Well, that was my first thought. That's a really big dent.
It's more than halfway through the actual.
Like we were just talking, I don't know why you would ship something like that just in bubble wrap. Like they are not cheap, and the coil is a critical component, and it's a component we can't raid from the previous unit, and it is really dented. Like, I don't even know if this thing is going to function. So it's just like one of those examples where, like, if you're going to send something in, do it properly, because a screw up like this can make it a complete waste of time and money. Now that those final parts have arrived, we've talked a lot, and we're done. We are done giving Leopard and Robertson and Kane chances to repair their mistakes. Yes, the deck is still in need of repair from the damage done by their contractors who refused our request to use deck protection, and the subsequent failed repair attempts that are porous and cracking open. But they had ample chance to do those repairs in Trinidad and failed by turning up so late in the hurricane season after 6 months of nothing, and then not having enough time, skilled labor and supplies to actually do the work. Leopard did offer to try again, but how much more of our time do they want or even deserve? In my mind, none. There seems to be this misconception among a very small minority of people, Leopard owners, that you need to be some kind of saint to deserve receiving a seaworthy boat or a reasonable warranty experience. And that's just a ridiculous notion, made even more bizarre by the fact that you're talking about companies that are owned by investment funds, where presumably it's profit that's king. The reality is that it doesn't matter whether you like an owner or not, or you like Trent or our crew or not. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Trent bought a blue water cruising sailing vessel under certain terms and conditions, and instead received a hull that's been described as one of the worst they've ever built, as having an abnormally large amount of issues, and just being a cuck boat. You're talking about someone who had enough faith in a brand to sell their home and shape their entire future around a product that this brand produces, and that's how they get treated. I think that the wider cruising community and potential buyers really need to take note of our experience, because it's one of those things where you don't think it's ever going to happen until it happens to you. We have lost so much sleep. It's damaged our relationships, it's damaged our health, and just destroyed the future that we had planned out, and now we're just trying to make it work. But if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I almost left at the end there in Trinidad. Now, with our experiences and the amount of times that we have been lied to or forced to pull from old recordings to prove our innocence about something, there is no way that I would interact with any of these people without having documentation or recordings or written evidence of what was discussed and what was said. Because again, you don't think you need it until all of a sudden it's absolutely critical that you do. To those of you who like to say that there's two sides to every story, which is a line that I have seen trotted out by a few leopard owning YouTube channels, there is no scenario where it is okay, where there is an explanation that makes it okay to have things like dry fiberglass or windows peeling off in the ocean or a crossbeam cracking out of a hull. And in making this comment, maybe consider that there is parts of this story they don't want you to know. Like the explanation for how the factory and QC process managed to fail so badly that our boat came off the production line with some of the outrageous and unsafe issues that it's had. With the boat off the hard stand, Trent sent Leopard an email regarding revisiting the earlier discussions of how the overall picture of this protracted warranty experience would be made right, recognizing the hugely negative impact the poor build quality and subsequent warranty process has had on our lives. Yes, this involved asking for certain sums of money to be refunded. No, it was not the kind of exorbitant money that you might get out of courts in some places. There was no response. They emailed about other things, but not that. How to interpret the lack of response? Well, if Leopard disagrees with my interpretation, feel free to email us. But the way I see it is that by giving no response at all, Leopard Corporate is showing that they don't care. They do not think they owe anything for the years of our lives that righting the mistakes on this hull has taken, and the immense impact that the poor workmanship, warranty process, mismanagement, and blatantly unprofessional actions of certain staff and contractors has had on our financial, physical, and mental health. So in terms of reviewing our experience of buying a new Leopard Catamaran and going through the subsequent warranty process, I think I'm ready to do the final part of that. There were some extremely serious issues that I have said all along quite openly that I felt should only be addressed when we had the overall picture of the complete experience, and I do believe that we've reached that point, and I don't see anything changing moving forward. So as well as releasing videos of where we're currently at in our journey, which I truly hope becomes a more positive experience, especially with them behind us and solving this anchor chain issue, I'll also be editing the final videos for our Leopard Catamaran review series, which I think will provide greater transparency for what we have been through on our boat ownership journey, and perhaps provide some closure to us on what has been an incredibly nasty and heartbreaking chapter of our lives.